Hello, this is Richard Outram, and welcome to the Prepare for Growth podcast series. Bite-sized wisdom for leadership and personal development. So thank you for taking time out to join me. I'm so grateful for this unique opportunity. And in this week's episode, what are you pretending not to know? Overcoming biases. Good leaders, even great ones, can sometimes make spectacularly bad choices. Some of them result from bad luck or poor timing, but research suggests that many are caused by cognitive and behavioral biases. While techniques to de-bias decision-making do exist, it's often difficult for executives whose own biases may be part of the problem to be self-aware enough to apply them. Two particular types of bias can weigh heavily on our decisions: confirmation bias and overconfidence bias. The former describes our unconscious tendency to attach more weight than we should to information that is consistent with our beliefs, hypotheses, and recent experiences, and to discount information that contradicts them. Overconfidence bias frequently makes executives misjudge their own abilities, as well as the competencies of the business. It leads them to take risks that they should not take in the mistaken belief that they will be able to control outcomes. Since executives likely will not get very far by focusing directly on their biases, they should consider instead whether safeguards against them have been used. In other words, leaders should ask about the process used to decide, not about the decision itself or the degree of confidence it inspires. There are two sets of questions that test for decision readiness. These questions are used for evaluating the decision-making process in the context of the two main categories of biases described earlier. The first set of questions, consideration of different points of view, aims to determine whether confirmation bias has been kept in check. These questions focus on the sources of assumptions and the diversity of opinions involved. A broad set of sources, including outside views, or a diverse set of opinions, is a good indicator that the initial assumptions of the decision process have not gone unchallenged. A second set of questions, consideration of downside risks, asks whether the possibility of negative outcomes, including company, industry, and macro-level downsides, has been thoroughly evaluated. Such an evaluation can act as a safeguard against overconfidence. In an environment of change and disruption, many leaders fear that their companies do not take enough risks or may fall prey to analysis paralysis and let opportunities slip away. Hence the popularity of startup as role models for fast, agile, and iterative decision-making. But some risks are worth taking, those taken knowingly in the pursuits of defined rewards. But some risks are taken recklessly because the risk takers are blind to their own overconfidence or have failed to consider alternative viewpoints. In many cases, it's not that organizations don't have the information, but rather they can't or won't accept it. Unaware companies fail to ask the rather arresting question: what are you pretending not to know? Or put simply, companies who fail to confront their market realities are fostering collective delusion that will almost always sow the seeds of their demise. Similar to counteracting confirmation bias, such organizational self-awareness can be improved by seeking feedback from all stakeholders, that is, employees, customers, shareholders, government, communities, etc., and keeping those stakeholders informed about how the company is adapting to serve their changing needs. The same approach in building organizational self-awareness also holds true for teams and individuals, wherein fostering candor, vulnerability, and feedback exchange amongst team members is key to confronting reality. According to The Intelligence Trap by David Robson, many organizational disasters have occurred from biases in decision-making and narrow thinking, which lacked three important qualities. Number one, reflection about basic underlying assumptions. Number two, curiosity about the purpose of your actions. And number three, a consideration of the wider, long-term consequences of your behavior. For a variety of reasons, employees simply aren't encouraged enough to think or allowed to express any doubts or bad news about the performance of the business. Worse, the company may deliberately hire employees with a can-do attitude who don't challenge the status quo, but instead mindlessly agree. Here, the most pervasive and potent source of organizational bias is the demand for corporate loyalty, an excessive focus on positivity and relentless optimism, where criticism may be seen as a betrayal and admitting anxiety is a source of weakness. Social pressure and culture may also play a part in disliking the naysayer, troublemaker, who delays meetings and hears the sighs from others with the endless questions. But organizations must encourage alternative points of view and actively seeking disconfirming information, both internally and from outside expertise. I've seen many entrepreneurs who look to explain their failings with external factors. The market wasn't quite ready for our product, rather than considering the errors in their own performance and how to adapt in the future. Some of this thinking is simply born in the ego as it is threatened, and they really aren't considering their own personal growth. So what are the core characteristics of highly reliable and predictable success in decision making? Number 1, preoccupation with risk management and failure, not complacent with past successes and rewarding self-reporting of errors. Number 2, not simplifying interpretations, encourage questioning, assumptions and skepticism. Number 3, collaborative sensitivity. Operating team members communicate, interact and update the situation at hand and search for root causes and effects of anomalies and surprises. Number 4, commitment to learn from errors, building the necessary knowledge and resource muscle to bounce back after errors, including post-mortem, cause and effect analysis, and regular discussions of near misses. Number 5, defer to the experts, trust people on the ground, intellectual humility at the top, verify accordingly, stress the importance of communication between the ranks and hierarchy. Number 6, understand time pressures. Biases may be amplified by feeling of time pressure. Encourage employees to examine their actions and ask, if I had more time and resources, would I make the same decisions? Ultimately, the secrets of overcoming organizational bias and therefore good decision making are the same for teams and for individuals. Biases come in many forms and are unconscious without the necessary self-awareness, reflection and contemplation. But whoever you are, it pays to humbly recognize your limits and the possibility of failure. Consider and take account of ambiguity and uncertainty in your decision process. Remain curious and open to new information. Recognize the potential to grow from your errors and failures and actively question everything. I hope that you found today's session valuable. If so, please follow me on Instagram @outram.richard and post your comments. Thank you again. Until the next podcast.